Still up for the resolution is the disqualification cases filed against Senator and presidential aspirant Grace Poe. Being questioned are Poe's citizenship and residency. Petitioners claim she has failed to meet both requirements. Such cases are up for the COMELEC en banc and the Supreme Court to resolve. More from Freddie Abando.
It is now up to the en banc of the Commission on Elections to decide the fate and future of Senator Grace Poe to stay in the presidential race in the 2016 elections. Poe's lawyers has appealed the decision of the 1st and 2nd Divisions to cancel her certificate of candidacy for the presidency based on several petitions questioning her residency and citizenship. Her lawyer, Attorney George Garcia, said the ruling of the 2 divisions contrasted with the Senate Electoral Tribunal that Poe cannot have natural-born citizenship as a senator and at the same time and lack such citizenship as a presidential candidate or commit deliberate misrepresentation by stating that she is a natural-born Filipino as found by the SET. House Minority Leader Ronaldo Zamora stressed Poe's appeal is backed by a number of Supreme Court rulings which reversed the COMELEC's decisions on the issue of a candidate's residency and citizenship. Zamora is one of the key supporters of Senator Grace Poe.
The Supreme Court has ruled in many instances going abroad, even living abroad, even taking out a different passport and citizenship, that doesn't really interrupt your residency. The important thing is you are able to maintain it despite these changes. So the question really is, what is her status as a Filipino citizen? I don't think anybody disputes that she's a Filipino citizen. The question is, at birth, was she natural born or not? Well, I've said time and again, the law is probably on her side. You know, we are signatories, or at least we adhere to certain principles adopted in international law.
House Deputy Speaker George D. Agabao said Poe's case will eventually be on the calendar of the Supreme Court. He said that to be sure, the issue of citizenship respecting a foundling is a case of first impression. Agabao said the lawyers may file a temporary restraining order before the Supreme Court to stop the poll body's ruling on her case. Poe's fate will be decided by the High Tribunal.
The decision of the COMELEC actually is final. That's what our Constitution says. En banc is final. But there's a remedy to stop the implementation of the COMELEC decision, and the remedy is for the Supreme Court to issue a TRO. Once the Supreme Court issues a TRO against the decision of the COMELEC en banc, that decision, even if adverse against Grace Poe, cannot be implemented, which means that the decision to remove her name from the ballot, could not be implemented. In other words, her name would stay there until there's a final determination by the Supreme Court.
However, Zamora stressed, let the people decide in the elections if Poe could be president or not, despite her possible disqualification by the COMELEC en banc and an appeal that may be raised before the Supreme Court. Poe's name stays in the ballot, but if the High Tribunal upholds the COMELEC's ruling, all votes for Poe will be considered stray votes.
And let the people decide. Isn't that the essence of democracy? That sovereignty resides in the people. It is not 5, 6, 10, 15 people to decide whether you can run. It is the people to decide whether you can run and whether you can win. And that is what is important.
What happens then? Her name is in the ballot. She gets elected. She gets votes, for example. And then later on, let's say that her name is in the ballot, and the ballot is printed. And then at a later time, the Supreme Court says that she's not qualified to run, What would happen there? And assuming she gets votes, those will all be considered as stray votes. Wala namang inconsequential even if her name appears there.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.